Hi everyone, welcome to Mountain Home Stories. So in the last video, I've left off in a very crucial point where Jack enters. So now I'm going to just jump into the story and see what is going to follow in this a few pages as well as the last chapter. A gentle reminder, if you are new to my channel, please do consider subscribing to it. And now without wasting any further time, let's just dive into the last episode of this story and find out what happens next. Enter Jack, Gwendoline catching sight of him. Ernest, my own Ernest. Jack, Gwendoline, darling, offers to kiss her. Gwendoline drawing back. A moment. May I ask you, are you engaged to be married to this young lady? Points to Cecily. Jack laughing. To dear little Cecily, of course not. What could have put such an idea into your pretty little head? Gwendoline. Thank you. You may. Offers her cheek. Cecily very sweetly. I knew there must be some misunderstanding, Miss Fairfax. The gentleman whose arm is at present round your waist is my guardian, Mr. John Worthing. Gwendoline. I beg your pardon? Cecily. This is Uncle Jack. Gwendoline receding. Jack? Oh! Enter Algernon. Cecily. Here is Ernest. Algernon goes straight over to Cecily without noticing anyone else. My own love, offers to kiss her. Cecily drawing back. A moment, Ernest. May I ask you, are you engaged to be married to this young lady? Algernon looking round. To what young lady? Good heavens! Gwendoline! Cecily. Yes, to good heavens, Gwendoline. I mean to Gwendoline. Algernon laughing. Of course not. What could have put such an idea into your pretty little head? Cecily. Thank you. Presenting her cheek to be kissed. You may. Algernon kisses her. Gwendoline. I felt there was some slight error, Miss Cardew. The gentleman who is now embracing you is my cousin, Mr. Algernon Moncrief. Cecily breaking away from Algernon. Algernon Moncrief? Oh! The two girls moved towards each other and put their arms round each other's waists as if for protection. Cecily. Are you called Algernon? Algernon. I cannot deny it. Cecily. Oh! Gwendoline. Is your name really John? Jack, standing rather proudly. I could deny it if I liked. I could deny anything if I liked. But my name certainly is John. It has been John for years. Cecily to Gwendoline. A gross deception has been practiced on both of us. Gwendoline. My poor wounded Cecily. Cecily. My sweet wronged Gwendoline. Gwendoline, slowly and seriously. You will call me sister, will you not? They embrace. Jack and Algernon groan and walk up and down. Cecily rather brightly. There is just one question I would like to be allowed to ask my guardian. Gwendoline. An admirable idea. Mr. Worthing, there is just one question I would like to be permitted to put to you. Where is your brother Ernest? We are both engaged to be married to your brother Ernest, so it is a matter of some importance to us to know where your brother Ernest is at present. Jack, slowly and hesitatingly. Gwendoline. Cecily, it is very painful for me to be forced to speak the truth. It is the first time in my life that I have ever been reduced to such a painful position, and I am really quite inexperienced in doing anything of the kind. However, I will tell you quite frankly that I have no brother Ernest. I have no brother at all. I never had a brother in my life, and I certainly have not the smallest intention of ever having one in the future. Cecily, surprised. No brother at all? Jack, cheerily. None. Gwendoline, severely. Had you never a brother of any kind? Jack, pleasantly. Never. Not even of any kind. Gwendoline. I'm afraid it is quite clear, Cecily, that neither of us is engaged to be married to anyone. Cecily. It is not a very pleasant position for a young girl suddenly to find herself in, is it? Gwendoline. Let us go into the house. They will hardly venture to come after us there. Cecily. No, men are so cowardly, aren't they? They retire into the house with scornful looks. Jack. This ghastly state of things is what you call bun-bearing, I suppose? Algernon. Yes, and a perfectly wonderful bunberry it is. The most wonderful bunberry I have ever had in my life. Jack. Well, you have no right whatsoever to bunberry here. Algernon. That is absurd. One has a right to bunberry anywhere one chooses. Every serious bunberist knows that. Jack. Serious bunberries? Good heavens! Algernon. Well, one must be serious about something if one wants to have any amusement in life. I happen to be serious about bun-bearing. What on earth you are serious about, I haven't got the remotest idea. About everything, I should fancy. You have such an absolutely trivial nature. Jack. Well, the only small satisfaction I have in the whole of this wretched business is that your friend Bunbury is quite exploded. You won't be able to run down to the country quite so often as you used to do, dear Algy, and a very good thing too. Algernon. Your brother is a little off colour, isn't he, dear Jack? You won't be able to disappear to London quite so frequently as your wicked custom was, and not a bad thing either. Jack. As for your conduct towards Miss Cardew, I must say that your taking in a sweet, simple, innocent girl like that is quite inexcusable, to say nothing of the fact that she is my ward. Algernon. I can see no possible defence at all for your deceiving a brilliant, clever, thoroughly experienced young lady like Miss Fairfax, to say nothing of the fact that she is my cousin. Jack. I wanted to be engaged to Gwendoline, that is all. I love her. Algernon. Well, I simply wanted to be engaged to Cecily. I adore her. Jack. There is certainly no chance of your marrying Miss Cardew. Algernon. I don't think there is much likelihood, Jack, of you and Miss Fairfax being united. Jack. Well, that is no business of yours. Algernon. If it was my business, I wouldn't talk about it. Begins to eat muffins. It is very vulgar to talk about one's business. Only people like stockbrokers do that, and then merely at dinner parties. Jack. How you can sit there calmly eating muffins when we are in this horrible trouble, I can't make out. You seem to me to be perfectly heartless. Algernon. Well, I can't eat muffins in an agitated manner. The butter would probably get on my cuffs. One should always eat muffins quite calmly. It is the only way to eat them. Jack. I say, it's perfectly heartless your eating muffins at all under the circumstances. Algernon. When I am in trouble, eating is the only thing that consoles me. Indeed, when I am in really great trouble, as anyone who knows me intimately will tell you, I refuse everything except food and drink. At the present moment, I am eating muffins because I am unhappy. Besides, I am particularly fond of muffins. Rising. Jack, rising. Well, there is no reason why you should eat them all in that greedy way. Takes muffins from Algernon. Algernon offering tea cake. I wish you would have tea cake instead. I don't like tea cake. Jack. Good heavens, I suppose a man may eat his own muffins in his own garden. Algernon. But you have just said it was perfectly heartless to eat muffins. Jack. I said it was perfectly heartless of you under the circumstances. That is a very different thing. Algernon. That may be, but the muffins are the same. He seizes the muffin dish from Jack. Jack. Algy, I wish to goodness you would go. Algernon. You can't possibly ask me to go without having some dinner. It's absurd. I never go without any dinner. No one ever does, except vegetarians and people like that. Besides, I've just made arrangements with Dr. Chasuble to be christened at 5:45 under the name of Earnest. Jack. My dear fellow, the sooner you give up that nonsense, the better. I have made arrangements this morning with Dr. Chasuble to be christened myself at 5:30, and I naturally will take the name of Earnest. Gwendoline would wish it. We both cannot be christened Earnest. It's absurd. Besides, I have a perfect right to be christened if I like. There is no evidence at all that I have ever been christened by anybody. I should think it extremely probable I never was, and so does Dr. Chasuble. It is entirely different in your case. You have been christened already. Algernon. Yes, but I have not been christened for years. Jack. Yes, but you have been christened. That is the important thing. Algernon. Quite so. So I know my constitution can stand it. If you are not quite sure about your ever having been christened, I may say I think it rather dangerous you venturing on it now. It might make you very unwell. You can hardly have forgotten that someone very closely connected with you was very nearly carried off this week in Paris by a severe chill. Jack. Yes, but you said yourself that a severe chill was not hereditary. Algernon. It used to be, I know, but I dare say it is now. Science is always making wonderful improvements in things. Jack, picking up the muffin dish. Oh, that is nonsense. You're always talking nonsense. Algernon. Jack, you are at the muffins again. I wish you wouldn't. There are only 2 left. Takes them. I told you I was particularly fond of muffins. Jack. But I hate tea cake. Algernon. Why on earth then do you allow tea cake to be served up for your guests? What ideas you have on hospitality? Jack. Algernon, I've already told you to go. I don't want you here. Why don't you go? Algernon. I haven't quite finished my tea yet, and there is still 1 muffin left. Jack groans and sinks into a chair. Algernon continues eating. Act drop. Third act, scene. Drawing room at the manor house. Gwendolen and Cecily are at the window, looking out into the garden. Gwendolen. The fact that they did not follow us at once into the house, as anyone else would have done, seems to me to show that they have some sense of shame left. Cecily. They have been eating muffins. That looks like repentance. Gwendolen, after a pause. They don't seem to notice us at all. Couldn't you cough? Cecily. But I haven't got a cough. Gwendolen. They're looking at us. What effrontery! Cecily. They're approaching. That's very forward of them. Gwendolen. Let us preserve a dignified silence. Cecily. Certainly. It's the only thing to do now. Enter Jack, followed by Algernon. They whistle some dreadful popular air from a British opera. Gwendolen. This dignified silence seems to produce an unpleasant effect. Cecily. A most distasteful one. Gwendolen. But we will not be the first to speak. Cecily. Certainly not. Gwendolen. Mr. Worthing, I have something very particular to ask you. Much depends on your reply. Cecily. Gwendolen, your common sense is invaluable. Mr. Moncrief, kindly answer me the following question. Why did you pretend to be my guardian's brother? Algernon. In order that I might have an opportunity of meeting you. Cecily to Gwendolen. That certainly seems a satisfactory explanation, does it not? Gwendolen. Yes, dear, if you can believe him. Cecily. I don't, but that does not affect the wonderful beauty of his answer. Gwendolen. True. In matters of great importance, style, not sincerity, is the vital thing. Mr. Worthing, what explanation can you offer to me for pretending to have a brother? Was it in order that you might have an opportunity of coming up to town to see me as often as possible? Jack. Can you doubt it, Miss Fairfax? Gwendolen. I have the gravest doubts upon the subject, but I intend to crush them. This is not the moment for German skepticism. Moving to Cecily. Their explanations appear to be quite satisfactory, especially Mr. Worthing's. That seems to me to have the stamp of truth upon it. Cecily. I am more than content with what Mr. Moncrief said. His voice alone inspires one with absolute credulity. Gwendolen. Then you think we should forgive them? Cecily. Yes, I mean no. Gwendolen. True, I had forgotten. There are principles at stake that one cannot surrender. Which of us should tell them? The task is not a pleasant one. Cecily. Could we not both speak at the same time? Gwendolen. An excellent idea. I nearly always speak at the same time as other people. Will you take the time from me? Cecily. Certainly. Gwendolen beats time with uplifted finger. Gwendolen and Cecily speaking together. Your Christian names are still an insuperable barrier, that is all. Jack and Algernon speaking together. Our Christian names, is that all? But we are going to be christened this afternoon. Gwendolen to Jack. For my sake, you are prepared to do this terrible thing? Jack. I am. Cecily to Algernon. To please me, you are ready to face this fearful ordeal? Algernon. I am. Gwendolen. How absurd to talk of the equality of the sexes. Where questions of self-sacrifice are concerned, men are infinitely beyond us. Jack. We are. Clasps hands with Algernon. Cecily. They have moments of physical courage of which we women have absolutely nothing. Gwendolen to Jack. Darling. Algernon to Cecily. Darling. They fall into each other's arms. Enter Merriman. When he enters, he coughs loudly, seeing the situation. Merriman. Lady Bracknell. Jack. Good heavens! Enter Lady Bracknell. The couple separate in alarm. Exit Merriman. Lady Bracknell. Gwendolen! What does this mean? Gwendolen. Merely that I am engaged to be married to Mr. Worthing, Mamma. Lady Bracknell. Come here, sit down. Sit down immediately. Hesitation of any kind is a sign of mental decay in the young, or physical weakness in the old. Turns to Jack. Apprised, sir, of my daughter's sudden flight by her trusty maid, whose confidence I purchased by means of a small coin, I followed her at once by a luggage train. Her unhappy father is, I am glad to say, under the impression that she is attending a more than usually lengthy lecture by the University Extension Scheme on the influence of a permanent income on thought. I do not propose to undeceive him. Indeed, I have never undeceived him on any question. I would consider it wrong. But of course, you will clearly understand that all communication between yourself and my daughter must cease immediately from this moment. On this point, as indeed on all points, I am firm. Jack. I am engaged to be married to Gwendolen, Lady Bracknell. Lady Bracknell. You are nothing of the kind, sir. And now as regards Algernon. 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 Yes, Aunt Augusta. Lady Bracknell. May I ask if it is in this house that your invalid friend Mr. Bunbury resides? Algernon stammering. Oh, no. Bunbury doesn't live here. Bunbury is somewhere else at present. In fact, Bunbury is dead. Lady Bracknell. Dead? When did Mr. Bunbury die? His death must have been extremely sudden. Algernon airily. Oh, I killed Bunbury this afternoon. Poor Bunbury died this afternoon. Lady Bracknell. What did he die of? Algernon. Bunbury. Oh, he was quite exploded. Lady Bracknell. Exploded? Was he the victim of a revolutionary outrage? I was not aware that Mr. Bunbury was interested in social legislation. If so, he is well punished for his morbidity. Algernon. My dear Aunt Augusta, he was found out. The doctors found out that Bunbury could not live. That is what I mean, so Bunbury died. Lady Bracknell. He seems to have had great confidence in the opinion of his physicians. I am glad, however, that he made up his mind at the last to some definite course of action and acted under proper medical advice. And now that we have finally got rid of this Mr. Bunbury, may I ask, Mr. Worthing, who is that young person whose hand my nephew Algernon is now holding in what seems to me a peculiarly unnecessary manner? Jack. That lady is Miss Cecily Cardew, my ward. Lady Bracknell bows coldly to Cecily. Algernon. I am engaged to be married to Cecily, Aunt Augusta. Lady Bracknell. I beg your pardon? Cecily. Mr. Moncrieff and I are engaged to be married, Lady Bracknell. Lady Bracknell, with a shiver, crossing to the sofa and sitting down. I do not know whether there is anything peculiarly exciting in the air of this particular part of Hertfordshire, but the number of engagements that go on seems to me considerably above the proper average than statistics have laid down for our guidance. I think some preliminary inquiry on my part would not be out of place. Mr. Worthing, is Miss Cardew at all connected with any of the larger railway stations in London? I merely desire information. Until yesterday, I had no idea that there were any families or persons whose origin was a terminus. Jack looks perfectly furious, but restrains himself. Jack, in a cold, dear voice. Miss Cardew is the granddaughter of the late Mr. Thomas Cardew of 149 Belgrave Square, SW, Surveys Park, Dorking, Surrey, and the Sporran, Fifeshire, NB. Lady Bracknell. That sounds not unsatisfactory. 3 addresses always inspire confidence, even in tradesmen. But what proof have I of their authenticity? Jack. I have carefully preserved the court guides of the period. They are open to your inspection, Lady Bracknell. Lady Bracknell grimly. I have known strange errors in that publication. Jack. Miss Cardew's family solicitors are Messrs. Markby, and Markby. Lady Bracknell. Markby, and Markby. A firm of that very highest position in their profession. Indeed, I am told that one of the Mr. Markbys is occasionally to be seen at dinner parties. So far I am satisfied. Jack, very irritably. How extremely kind of you, Lady Bracknell. I have also in my possession, you will be pleased to hear, certificates of Miss Cardew's birth, baptism, whooping cough, registration, vaccination, confirmation, and the measles, both the German and the English variety. Lady Bracknell. Ah, a life crowded with incidents. I see, though perhaps somewhat too exciting for a young girl. I am not myself in favour of premature experiences. Rises, looks at her watch. Gwendoline, the time approaches for our departure. We have not a moment to lose. As a matter of form, Mr. Worthing, I had better ask you if Miss Cardew has any little fortune? Jack. Oh, about £130,000 in the funds. That is all. Goodbye, Lady Bracknell. So pleased to have seen you. Lady Bracknell, sitting down again. A moment, Mr. Worthing, £130,000. And in the funds. Miss Cardew seems to me a most attractive young lady, now that I look at her. Few girls of the present day have any really solid qualities, any of the qualities that last and improve with time. We live, I regret to say, in an age of services. To Cecily. Come over here, dear. Cecily goes across. Pretty child, your dress is sadly simple, and your hair seems almost as nature might have left it. But we can soon alter all that. A thoroughly experienced French maid produces a really marvellous result in a very brief space of time. I remember recommending one to young Lady Lansing, and after 3 months her own husband did not know her. Jack. And after 6 months nobody knew her. Lady Bracknell glares at Jack for a few moments, then bends with a practised smile to Cecily. Kindly turn round, sweet child. Cecily turns completely round. No, the side view is what I want. Cecily presents her profile. Yes, quite as I expected. There are distinct social possibilities in your profile. The 2 weak points in our age are its want of principle and its want of profile. The chin a little higher, dear. Style largely depends on the way the chin is worn. They are worn very high just at present Algernon? Algernon. Yes, Aunt Augusta? Lady Bracknell. There are distinct social possibilities in Miss Cardew's profile. Algernon. Cecily is the sweetest, dearest, prettiest girl in the whole world, and I don't care twopence about social possibilities. Lady Bracknell. Never speak disrespectfully of society, Algernon. Only people who can't get into it do that. To Cecily. Dear child, of course you know that Algernon has nothing but his debts to depend upon. But I do not approve of mercenary marriages. When I married Lord Bracknell, I had no fortune of any kind, but I never dreamed for a moment of allowing that to stand in my way. Well, I suppose I must give my consent. Algernon. Thank you, Aunt Augusta. Lady Bracknell. Cecily, you may kiss me. Cecily kisses her. Thank you, Lady Bracknell. Lady Bracknell. You may also address me as Aunt Augusta for the future. Cecily. Thank you, Aunt Augusta. Lady Bracknell. The marriage, I think, had better take place quite soon. Algernon. Thank you, Aunt Augusta. Cecily. Thank you, Aunt Augusta. Lady Bracknell. To speak frankly, I am not in favour of long engagements. They give people the opportunity of finding out each other's character before marriage, which I think is never advisable. Jack. I beg your pardon for interrupting yon, Lady Bracknell, but this engagement is quite out of the question. I am Miss Cardew's guardian, and she cannot marry without my consent until she comes of age. That consent I absolutely decline to give. Lady Bracknell. Upon what grounds, may I ask? Algernon is an extremely, I may almost say, an ostentatiously eligible young man. He has nothing, but he looks everything. What more can one desire? Jack. It pains me very much to have to speak frankly to you, Lady Bracknell, about your nephew, but the fact is that I do not approve at all of his moral character. I suspect him of being untruthful. Algernon and Cecily look at him in indignant amazement. Lady Bracknell. Untruthful? My nephew Algernon? Impossible. He is an Oxonian. Jack. I fear there can be no possible doubt about the matter. This afternoon, during my temporary absence in London on an important question of romance, he obtained permission to my house by means of the false pretense of being my brother. Under an assumed name, he drank, I have just been informed by my butler, an entire pint bottle of my Perrier Jouet Brut 89 wine I was specially reserving for myself. Continuing his disgraceful deception, he succeeded in the course of the afternoon in alienating the affections of my only ward. He subsequently stayed to tea and devoured every single muffin. And what makes his conduct all the more heartless is that he was perfectly well aware from the first that I have no brother, that I never had a brother, and that I don't intend to have a brother, not even of any kind. I distinctly told him so myself yesterday afternoon. Lady Bracknell. Mr. Worthing, after careful consideration, I have decided entirely to overlook my nephew's conduct to you. Jack. That is very generous of you, Lady Bracknell. My own decision, however, is unalterable. I decline to give my consent. Lady Bracknell to Cecily. Come here, sweet child. Cecily goes over. How old are you, dear? Cecily. Well, I'm really only 18, but I always admit to 20 when I go to evening parties. Lady Bracknell. You are perfectly right in making some slight alteration. Indeed, no woman should ever be quite accurate about her age. It looks so calculating. In a meditative manner. 18, but admitting to 20 at evening parties. Well, it will not be very long before you are of age and free from the restraints of tutelage. So I don't think your guardian's consent is, after all, a matter of any importance. Jack. Pray excuse me, Lady Bracknell, for interrupting you again, but It is only fair to tell you that according to the terms of her grandfather's will, Miss Cardew does not come legally of age till she is 35. Lady Bracknell. That does not seem to me to be a grave objection. 35 is a very attractive age. London society is full of women of the very highest birth who have, of their own free choice, remained 35 for years. Lady Dumbleton is an instance in point. To my own knowledge, she has been 35 ever since she arrived at the age of 40, which was many years ago now. I see no reason why our dear Cecily should not be even still more attractive at the age you mentioned than she is at present. There will be a large accumulation of property. Cecily. Algy, could you wait for me till I was 35? Algernon. Of course I could, Cecily. You know I could. Cecily. Yes, I felt it instinctively. But I couldn't wait all that time. I hate waiting even 5 minutes for anybody. It always makes me rather cross. I'm not punctual myself, I know, but I do like punctuality in others. And waiting, even to be married, is quite out of the question. Algernon. Then what is to be done, Cecily? Cecily. I don't know, Mr. Moncrieff. Lady Bracknell. My dear Mr. Worthing, as Miss Cardew states positively that she cannot wait till she is 35, a remark which I am bound to say seems to me to show a somewhat impatient nature, I would beg of you to reconsider your decision. Jack. But my dear Lady Bracknell, the matter is entirely in your own hands. The moment you consent to my marriage with Gwendoline, I will most gladly allow your nephew to form an alliance with my ward. Lady Bracknell, rising and drawing herself up. You must be quite aware that what you propose is out of the question. Jack. Then a passionate celibacy is all that any of us can look forward to. Lady Bracknell. That is not the destiny I propose for Gwendoline. Algernon, of course, can choose for himself. Pulls out her watch. Come, dear. Gwendoline rises. We have already missed 5, if not 6 trains. To miss any more might expose us to comment on the platform. Enter Dr. Chasuble. Chasuble. Everything is quite ready for the christenings. Lady Bracknell. The christenings, sir? Is not that somewhat premature? Chasuble, looking rather puzzled and pointing to Jack and Algernon. Both these gentlemen have expressed a desire for immediate baptism. Lady Bracknell. At their age, the idea is grotesque and irreligious. Algernon, I forbid you to be baptized. I will not hear of such excesses. Lord Bracknell would be highly displeased if he learned that that was the way in which you wasted your time and money. Chasuble. Am I to understand, men, that there are to be no christenings at all this afternoon? Jack. I don't think that, as things are now, it would be of much practical value to either of us, Dr. Chasuble. Chasuble. I am grieved to hear such sentiments from you, Mr. Worthing. They savour of the heretical views of the Anabaptists, views that I have completely refuted in 4 of my unpublished sermons. However, as your present mood seems to be one peculiarly secular, I will return to the church at once. Indeed, I have just been informed by the pew opener that for the last hour and a half Miss Prism has been waiting for me in the vestry. Lady Bracknell, starting. Miss Prism? Did I hear you mention a Miss Prism? Chasuble. Yes, Lady Bracknell. I am on my way to join her. Lady Bracknell. Pray allow me to detain you for a moment. This matter may prove to be one of vital importance to Lord Bracknell and myself. Is this Miss Prism a female of repellent aspects, remotely connected with education? Chasuble, somewhat indignantly. She is the most cultivated of ladies, and the very picture of respectability. Lady Bracknell. It is obviously the same person. May I ask what position she holds in your household? Chasuble severely. I am a celibate, madam. Jack, interposing. Miss Prism, Lady Bracknell, has been for the last 3 years Miss Cardew's esteemed governess and valued companion. Lady Bracknell. In spite of what I hear of her, I must see her at once. Let her be sent for. Chasuble, looking off. She approaches. She is nigh. Enter Miss Prism hurriedly. Miss Prism. I was told you expected me in the vestry, dear Canon. I have been waiting for you there for an hour and 3/4. Catches sight of Lady Bracknell, who has fixed her with a stony glare. Miss Prism grows pale and quails. She looks anxiously round as if desirous to escape. Lady Bracknell, in a severe, judicial voice. Prism! Miss Prism bows her head in shame. Come here, Prism! Miss Prism approaches in a humble manner. Prism! Where is that baby? General consternation. The Canon starts back in horror. Algernon and Jack pretend to be anxious to shield Cecily and Gwendolen from hearing the details of a terrible public scandal. 28 years ago, Prism, you left Lord Bracknell's house, number 104, Upper Grosvenor Square, in charge of a perambulator that contained a baby of the male sex. You never returned. A few weeks later, through the elaborate investigation of the Metropolitan Police, the perambulator was discovered at midnight standing by itself in a remote corner of Bayswater. It contained the manuscript of a 3-volume novel of more than usually revolting sentimentality. Miss Prism starts in involuntary indignation. But the baby was not there. Everyone looks at Miss Prism. Prism! Where is that baby? A pause. Miss Prism. Lady Bracknell, I admit with shame that I do not know. I only wish I did. The plain facts of the case are these. On the morning of the day you mention, a day that is forever branded in my memory, I prepared as usual to take the baby out in its perambulator. I had also with me a somewhat old but capacious handbag in which I had intended to place the manuscript of a work of fiction that written during my few unoccupied hours. In a moment of mental abstraction, for which I shall never forgive myself, I deposited the manuscript in the bassinet and placed the baby in the handbag. Jack, who had been listening attentively. But where did you deposit the handbag? Miss Prism. Do not ask me, Mr. Worthing. Jack. Miss Prism, this is a matter of no small importance to me. I insist on knowing where you deposited the handbag that contained that infant. Miss Prism. I left it in the cloakroom of one of the larger railway stations in London. Jack. What railway station? Miss Prism, quite crushed. Victoria, the Brighton line. Sinks into a chair. Jack. I must retire to my room for a moment, Gwendolen. Wait here for me. Gwendolen. If you are not too long, I will wait here for you all my life. Exit Jack in great excitement. Chasuble. What do you think this means, Lady Bracknell? Lady Bracknell. I dare not even suspect, Dr. Chasuble. I need hardly tell you that in families of high position, strange coincidences are not supposed to occur. They are hardly considered the thing. Noises heard overhead, as if someone was throwing trunks about. Everyone looks up. Cecily. Uncle Jack seems strangely agitated. Chasuble. Your guardian has a very emotional nature. Lady Bracknell. This noise is extremely unpleasant. It sounds as if he was having an argument. I dislike arguments of any kind. They are always vulgar and often convincing. Chasuble, looking up. It has stopped now. The noise is redoubled. Lady Bracknell. I wish he would arrive at some conclusion. Gwendolen. This suspense is terrible. I hope it will last. Enter Jack with a handbag of black leather in his hand. Jack, rushing over to Miss Prism. Is this the handbag, Miss Prism? Examine it carefully before you speak. The happiness of more than one life depends on your answer. Miss Prism, calmly. It seems to be mine. Yes, here is the injury it received through the upsetting of a Gower Street omnibus in younger and happier days. Here is the stain on the lining caused by the explosion of a temperance beverage, an incident that occurred in Leamington. And here, on the lock, are my initials. I'd forgotten that in an extravagant mood I had that placed there. The bag is undoubtedly mine. I am delighted to have it so unexpectedly restored to me. It has been a great inconvenience being without it all these years. Jack, in a pathetic voice. Miss Prism, more is restored to you than this handbag. I was the baby you placed in it. Miss Prism, amazed. You? Jack, embracing her. Yes, mother. Miss Prism, recoiling in indignant astonishment. Mr. Worthing, I am unmarried. Jack, unmarried? I do not deny that is a serious blow. But after all, who has the right to cast a stone against one who has suffered? Cannot repentance wipe out an act of folly? Why should there be one law for men and another for women? Mother, I forgive you. Tries to embrace her again. Miss Prism, still more indignant. Mr. Worthing, there is some error. Pointing to Lady Bracknell. There is a lady who can tell you who you really are. Jack, after a pause. Lady Bracknell, I hate to seem inquisitive, but would you kindly inform me who I am? Lady Bracknell. I'm afraid that the news I have to give you will not altogether please you. You are the son of my poor sister, Mrs. Moncrief, and consequently Algernon's elder brother. Jack. Algy's elder brother? Then I have a brother after all. I knew I had a brother. I always said I had a brother. Cecily, how could you have ever doubted that I have a brother? Seizes hold of Algernon. Dr. Chasuble, my unfortunate brother. Miss Prism, my unfortunate brother. Gwendoline, my unfortunate brother. Algy, you young scoundrel, you'll have to treat me with more respect in the future. You have never behaved to me like a brother in all your life. Algernon. Well, not till today, old boy, I admit. I did my best, however, though I was out of practice. Shakes hands. Gwendoline to Jack. My own. But what own are you? What is your Christian name, now that you have become someone else? Jack. Good heavens, I had quite forgotten that point. Your decision on the subject of my name is irrevocable, I suppose. Gwendoline. I never change except in my affections. Cecily. What a noble nature you have, Gwendoline. Jack. Then the question had better be cleared up at once. Aunt Augusta, a moment. At the time when Miss Prism left me in the handbag, had I been christened already? Lady Bracknell. Every luxury that money could buy, including christening, had been lavished on you by your fond and doting parents. Jack. Then I was christened. That is settled. Now, what name was I given? Let me know the worst. Lady Bracknell. Being the elder son, you were naturally christened after your father. Jack, irritably. Yes, but what was my father's Christian name? Lady Bracknell, meditatively. I cannot at the present moment recall what the General's Christian name was, but I have no doubt he had one. He was eccentric, I admit, but only in later years, and that was the result of the Indian climate, and marriage, and indigestion, and other things of that kind. Jack. Algy, can't you recollect what our father's Christian name was? Algernon. My dear boy, we were never ever on speaking terms. He died before I was a year old. Jack. His name would appear in the army lists of the period, I suppose, Aunt Augusta? Lady Bracknell. The General was essentially a man of peace, except in his domestic life, but I have no doubt his name would appear in any military directory. Jack. The army lists of the last 40 years are here. These delightful records should have been my constant study. Rushes to bookcase and tears the books out. M. Generals, Malan, Max Bohm, Maggie. What ghastly names they have! Markby, Migsby, Moncrief, Lieutenant 1840, Captain, Lieutenant Colonel, Colonel, General 1869, Christian names, Earnest John. Puts book very quietly down and speaks quite calmly. I always told you, Gwendoline, my name was Ernest, didn't I? Well, it is Ernest after all. I mean, it naturally is Ernest. Lady Bracknell. Yes, I remember now that the General was called Ernest. I knew I had some particular reason for disliking the name. Gwendoline. Ernest, my own Ernest. I felt from the first that he could have no other name. Jack. Gwendoline, it is a terrible thing for a man to find out suddenly that all his life he has been speaking nothing but the truth. Can you forgive me? Gwendoline. I can, for I feel that you are sure to change. Jack. My own one? Chasuble to Miss Prism. Letitia embraces her. Miss Prism enthusiastically. Frederick, at last. Algernon. Cecily embraces her. At last. Jack. Gwendoline embraces her. At last. Lady Bracknell. My nephew, you seem to be displaying signs of triviality. Jack. On the contrary, Aunt Augusta, I've now realized for the first time in my life the vital importance of being earnest. Tableau. Curtain. So with this, we come to the end of this entertaining, satirical play. The story compels us to wonder how society rewards appearance and superficial acts over authentic living and seeking true happiness, making us question, are we truly who we allow the world to see? Drop in your comment and let me know. I'll be back with yet another interesting story in my next video. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so and hit on the notification bell for the next video. And thank you so much for dropping by. Come back to hear me again. Till then, take care and bye-bye.